All right, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to go over all the problems on this review. So I'm going to work them out one by one. So first one, it says, what is the length of side ST? So ST is this side right here, and we can tell from these markings that all three sides are going to be equal to each other. So I have to write 5x minus 1 is equal to 4x plus 1. And so now I just solve for x. So minus 4x minus 4x. And so I get 5x minus 4x is x, and then minus 1. And over here we just have the 1 left over. So plus 1 on both sides. So we have x is 2. But they want st, so we have to plug in x. So I've got to do 5 times 2 and then minus 1. So 5 times 2 is 10, and minus 1 is 9. So that is st. So now over here, it says, what is the length of side AB? For AB, it's this one here, and we see it has one tick mark, so we look on the other side that also has one tick mark, and those are going to be equal to each other. So we have 3x plus 4 is equal to x plus 6. And so then, again, we solve this for x. Take your small one over to the big one. So minus x minus x. So 3x minus 1x is 2x plus 4, and that's equal to 6. So take away 4 on both sides. So we have 2x is equal to 2. Divide by 2, so we have x is 1. So now we want AB, so we plug in. We'll do 3 times 1 plus 4. Well, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 4, we get 7, and that is AB. All right. Not going to do this one because it doesn't really look like the one on our test, but we will do number 4 because that looks exactly like one on our test. So here we have this triangle, and we can see that it is an equilateral triangle because of the 3 markings. Equilateral triangles have angles that are all the same, okay, and they're always 60 degrees, because if you do 180 divided by 3, because there's 3 angles that are all the same, you get 60. So each of these angles in the corner is 60. Now we're trying to find the measure of angle N. Angle N is right here. So we can see that angle N is part of this bigger angle, and the bigger angle is marked with this little box, which means that the bigger angle is 90. So 60 plus N is equal to 90. So if you just subtract 60, you get that angle N is 30. So angle N is 30. All right, next one. It says the two triangles below are congruent based on which congruence postulate? So you've got 4 choices here, and we've got to look and see what they have in common. We see one angle here marked the same, and another angle there marked the same. So label them with A for angle. All right, now I have another one marked the same, so that's another angle. And then I see this tick mark on the sides there. They're labeled congruent with the tick mark, so there's an S and an S. Now, look at your picture, though. Do you see how we have the angle, and then the S is in the middle, and then the angle? And on the other one, it's the 2 angles, but the side is over here by itself. So these ones are actually not congruent. If this side was here between the 2 angles, then they would be congruent. But since it's not in the same spot, they are not congruent. All right, number 6. Let's look at this one. So we have one side marked with 2 tick marks. There's the other side marked with 2 tick marks, so that's a side and a side. And then here we have these 2 sides marked with tick marks, so those are also sides. And then at the corners, we have these 2 angles marked. So angle and angle. Now look at where these things are. So you see how these 2 sides come together to touch the angle? So they go like this. Okay, so that would be good for side, angle, side. But over here, do you see how only one of the sides touches the angle? This one doesn't touch that angle. So these 2 are not congruent because they're not in the same spots. Okay, number 7. The two triangles below are congruent based on which congruence postulate? If they are not congruent, state so. All right, so we have a 65-degree angle. That's congruent to this other 65-degree angle. And then we have these two 35-degree angles. Those are congruent to each other. And then this line in the middle, that is a side that they both share. So we're going to mark that side with a tick mark. So now we have an angle, we have a side, we have an angle. Look on the other one. We have the angle, the side, and the angle. So do you see how the side is between the two angles? Well, it's angle, side, angle. Okay, number 8. Here again, we have these two angles. We have these two angles. And then we have the side that they share in the middle. So that's a side. So it goes angle, side, angle. Angle, side, angle. They all match. So angle, side, angle. Okay, number 9. It says the two triangles below are congruent based on which congruent postulate? If they're not, state why. Okay, right here we have one angle and another angle, T and N. And then we have these two sides marked congruent, so those are good. Now we have to remember the angles in the middle at H, the vertical angles. Those are also congruent. So now look to see, we have an angle, a side, and then an angle. Okay, angle, side, angle. They're both in the same spots. They just flipped the other triangle around. So these two are congruent by angle, side, angle. All right, number 10, it says the two triangles below are congruent based on which congruent postulate? So right away, we have these two sides are congruent. These two sides are also congruent. And then we have these vertical angles here in the middle. So we have an angle and an angle. So we have side, angle, side, side, angle, side. So like the angle is between the two sides. So it is side, angle, side. And the reason why it's angle, side, or side, angle, side is because the angle is at the corner of where the two sides meet. All right. Now these ones, you just have to follow the angle markings. So we're trying to figure out which order we have to put the letters in. So go through here, and I want you to label the angles with the number of marks that they have. Okay, so angle I has 3. Okay, angle T over here has 3. So I goes with T. All right, on this one, angle R has 2. Okay, and on this one, angle S has 1. Okay, on this side, angle R has 1. And on this side, angle S has 2. So the R and the S are going to be kind of tricky. So what we want to look for is if I and T are in the same spots. That will help us to eliminate some things. So on letter A, do you see how this one starts with I, but this one over here does not start with I, or start with T? We got to get rid of that one. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, I is on the end over here. T is on the end, so this could be a possibility. We just need to check out R and S. Over here, I is in the middle, T is on the end, not in the same spot. So we can get rid of that one. And now this one, I is on the end, T is on the end. This could be a possibility. So now just go over here and check it out. This one says RSI. So R is 2, and then it goes to S, which is 1, and then I, which is 3, so 2, 1, 3. So that's the first one. And now I'll do the second one, RST. So R is 1, S for the second triangle is 2, and T for the third one is 3. So is 2, 1, 3 in the same order as 1, 2, 3? No. So now let's check this one out. SRI. So for this side here, S is 1, R is 2, and then I is 3. So now I'll go to the other one. We have R, S, and T. So R is 1, S is 2, and T is 3. Oh, they go in the same order, so they are congruent. That's how they're going to be congruent to each other. You're looking at the order for the letters. So now over here, check out the orders. You can kind of do this a little bit differently. Q, P, R. So we'll go Q, P, R. So they went 2, 1, 3. So that's 2, 1, 3. And then D, P, Q. D, P, Q. Okay, look at that. D, P, Q starts at 3. So is 2 and 3 even the same? No. All right. Check this one out. Let's compare D and R. So D starts with 3 and R is with 3. Okay, that's good. Now let's look at P. P, you gotta make sure you're on the right triangle. So we're looking at the bottom one. So P for this one is 2. Okay, and now we look at Q from the top one. Q for the top one is 2. Okay, that's good. And now look at Q for the bottom one. Okay, Q is 1. P for the top one, P is 1. So 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. There we go. And again, we're just looking at the angle markings. So you can use the arrows to help you. You can count the angle numbers to help you. You can do the sides to help you, just as long as you're going in the same order on each one. All right, 13. It says determine the correct congruency statement and the postulate shown in the figure to the right. So for this one, we have an angle, a side, and an angle. Okay, angle, a side, and an angle. So we're looking for angle, side, angle, because the side is right between the two angles. So angle, side, angle, we could do this one. Okay, angle, angle, side, that doesn't work. Angle, angle, side, that doesn't work. Angle, side, angle, that one's good. So now we just have to look at the order. TEX and then SAX. So TEX and then SAX. Do they go in the same order? 2 marks to no mark to 1 mark. Okay. 2 to none to 1. Yep. They go in the same order. So TEX is congruent to SAX by angle, side, angle. Okay, number 14. It says determine the correct congruency statement in the postulate shown for the figure in the right. So this one we have a side and an angle and then a side. Let's see, we have a side, an angle, and a side. So side, angle, side, because our angle is right between the two sides. So side, angle, side. So we can get rid of A and we can get rid of D. So now we just look at the letters. A-Y-N to S-K-N. So A-Y-N, S-K-N. Did those go on the same sides of the triangle? No, look. On the first one, we ended on the side with 2. Over here, we ended on the side with 1. So nope, that doesn't work. So we can get rid of B. So now look at C, Y-A-N. So Y-A-N. So we're going on this outside corner. So that would have to be S-K-N. So do we go on the outside corner for S-K-N? Yes. So they match. All right, 15. Determine the correct congruency statement here. So first off, we have these two sides. They're shared. We have these two angles. They're marked congruent. And now our other side is going to come from this one in the middle, because since they both share it, it's congruent to them. So we're going to put 2 tick marks on them, and that is a side. So we have a side and then an angle and a side. So we're looking for side, angle, side. So we get rid of C and get rid of D. So now we just look at the order. O-U-H. O-U-H versus U-T-H. U-T-H. No, that doesn't go the same at all. Okay, let's see. H-O-U and H-T-U. Yep, those go the same. So there we go. All right, 16. Okay, these ones. We have a right triangle here. So whenever you have a right triangle, you want to check and see if you have hypotenuse and a leg congruent. So your hypotenuse is this side here that's across from your right angle. This is also a right angle over here. So are the hypotenuses marked congruent? Yes. So we can put H for hypotenuse. And then the legs are these sides of the right triangle here. So we don't know if MA and AR are congruent because they're not marked, but here, AO, since they're both shared, that is definitely congruent. So this is our leg. So we can use hypotenuse leg to prove they're congruent. So we can get rid of A and B. And now we just look at the letters. So M, O, A, okay, and then ROA. So here's R, and then we go up to O, and then we go to A. Did we go in the same order? Yes. So that one works. All right, 17. Determine the correct congruency statement for these figures. It says mark all information on the triangles for credit. So it says angle POR is congruent to angle TOR. So POR right here at O, and we're doing the top part of it. And then TOR, so TOR, it's this angle right there. So those are congruent. And then it says PO is congruent to TO. So this side and those sides are marked congruent. Now they share this one in the middle. They share RO, so that's the second side that's congruent. So we have a side, an angle, and a side, an angle, and a side. So we have side, angle, side. So go through and look here, side, angle, side. So we can get rid of C and A. And now we just look at the letters, POR and TOR. So here's POR and TOR. Do we pass by the same markings on each one? Yes. So that one works. And then now number 18, it says determine the correct congruency statement in postulate shown. So we have to mark CO is congruent to NE. So CO and then NE. And then CN and OE. Those should have 2. Okay, so those 2 are good. Now, we don't know anything about these angles, so we can't mark any of them congruent, but this side that they share in the middle, we know that that is for sure congruent. So that will get 3 tick marks. So we have a side, and a side, a side, a side, and a side. So we have side, side, side. So these 2 triangles are congruent by side, side, side. So we get rid of side angle sides because that's not what we're looking for here. So side, side, side. You just look at the letters now. CON, so CON versus ONE. So ONE. Okay, see those didn't follow the same pattern. So that one doesn't work. So then let's look at NOC. So NOC versus ONE. So we go ONE. Yes. See how we ended up on the side with only 1 tick mark on it? Yep. Same pattern. All right, so that's all there is to it. So just make sure you've gone through each of these questions and written down the work for it. See you later. Bye.